Everybody please stand. Before our meeting opens, I would like Ms. Jill Beebe to lead us in the pledge, and Pastor Marvin Davis, if you'd say a prayer for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us bow. Most heavenly, most gracious God, we just want to say thank you for this day. We want to thank you for all that you have done for the city of Port St. Joe, the state of Florida, and these United States. And we ask you, Father, that you will come into this meeting today, God, and let us govern your business. God, let us come together as one, God. Let us use the resource that we get for the development of our community and our city. Father, I pray right now for our civic leaders, the mayor, the commission, and all of your people to serve you. Just pray in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Glad to see you. The first item of business is the consent agenda, which consists of the regular meeting minutes of October the 1st. Everybody's had a chance to look over those. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Langston. Second by Commissioner Lowry. Any discussion concerning the minutes? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0. Commissioner Ashbrook will be a little bit late today. He's working with Bo Creel from the building department. Hopefully get a CO on the port end today. So he said he'd be running a little bit late. And the building department, I think everybody looks on page 4. That gives you an idea of activity that we've had from the building department and basically in the last year. So it's very interesting, and we have had 18 single-family structures in that period of time, which is not bad. We've had 61 demolitions, 391 roofs. That's the ones that we've got record of at this time. So there's been a lot going on. We still got a lot of roofs to go. So y'all hope and pray, and tell your neighbors too, by the way, that there's still help out there for those who don't have insurance. There's help through the Corps and the long-term disaster recovery team. So please pass that on if you know anyone that needs help. Okay, long-term recovery committee. I don't see Miss Vicki here. PSJRA update. Commissioner Ashbrook can give us that when he comes, if there's anything new concerning that. And moving on to the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. The one item I have under my heading is Resolution 2019-09, customer trash rates. If the commission is so inclined, I would ask for a motion for reading and adoption of this resolution.
Okay, is there a motion for resolution 2019-09?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Lowry. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay, a second for discussion. Commissioner Hoffman.
I just want to confirm that the rates being reflected and discussed currently are the lower rate that we had spoke to BCC the other day about, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct, and we do have a signed contract on that. Where these rates reflect is the numbers from BCC plus 15% for the administrative costs. So yes, sir, that gets you to $20.15 for the residential, which was discussed last week. So, yes, sir, that is correct.
Your second stand?
It does.
Okay, any discussion? Any discussion from the audience on the new trash contract?
Yes.
Come up.
Yes. Yes, sir. I just heard about the rates, and I'm not fully up to date on all of the changes or proposals for the rates. And my concern, based on what I have heard, is the rates is increasing. Is that what this motion here is all about? The increasing of our garbage rate? And my question is, why is the rates keep going up? I know they're higher and we paying more than what it was with Waste Pro with us. And what is guiding this, the rate changes? I may be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong.
The regular trash, garbage pickup is close to being the same, with the exception of now, there's an addition, to trash pickup, yard debris. So now you can put out yard debris and it'll be picked up by BCC.
Okay.
So that's, Jim is adding, was it like $4, if I remember right, for the debris, trash debris. Jim, what did that add to the bill?
Yes, sir, Mayor, that is correct. The city went out to bid along with the county back in the spring to rebid trash rates. And this new proposal does come with debris removal pickup on site, roadside pickup. Yes, sir. Before, what you were looking at, it was $18.65 last year for the previous rates under the Waste Pro contract. It will go to $20.15, so you're looking at a little bit of difference, yes, sir.
So there's a little increase.
Yes, sir, there is a little bit of increase.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, a little bit, okay, but I was on the impression that it was going much higher than that, and I want to know what was guiding that.
Right.
You know, so.
Mostly the roadside pickup for yard debris.
Okay, now, when we talk about roadside, what are we talking about? Little small items?
4x4 area of yard debris,
Okay.
leaves, limbs, that type of thing.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Large stumps and that type of thing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Come forward, please.
Mayor, I'm wondering what the plan is, because people, as you pointed out, are still recovering. And so I drove over where Gateway is, and there's yet another big pile of sofas and stuff like that. And I know the city has done an admirable job to try to take care of that. But I'll give you an example. You know, I've been trying to get just the few portions of my home under control that hit me, and I'm the blessed one. But there are still things I have to put out. And so what I'd like to know is, will the new folks be taking care of that? Will it be a special call? What will be the prices for that? Because it just, you want the city to look nice, as do I.
The BCC and the city will, well, the city's getting out of the yard debris pickup.
Right.
Nobody will pick up anything except yard debris. Construction debris, excuse me, old chairs, sofas, the homeowner's responsible for that. Now, we do have problems with folks putting their stuff on other people's property. And that, until we can catch somebody, it's very difficult to enforce. But Richie's been writing people up left and right, but it's a problem that we know about. And if it's on someone else's property, if we do a special pickup, that property owner's going to be charged. So everybody's going to have to be vigilant as far as making sure that someone else doesn't put their garbage in front of your house.
And here's the dilemma, especially with the elderly. I mean, I have a truck, so, you know, I could very easily go and pay the tipping fee and put it out there, etc.
Right.
The elderly folks, they don't have that sort of situation. I just think we need to be thinking about how are we and what will be, the cost for folks that cannot go out to the landfill and do that because they just don't have the physical wherewithal, and they do not have the kind of vehicles that would allow them to do that.
Yeah. You missed the last meeting, and as soon as we vote for this motion, later on in the meeting, we'll discuss that again, because that was brought up in the last meeting about a spring cleanup, fix-up type
Thank you,
thing.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Charles, yeah, there's a question on that, because now the trash and stuff that's side the road that we know is all over the community,
Right.
everywhere. Okay, now the city getting out of that business of picking up the land debris, right?
Right.
So now that we're gonna have to pay the new contractor to pick up yard debris.
Well, that's part of your utility bill. It's already built in the water bill. So they're responsible for picking up those piles in front of your house.
Okay. Now, my question is for white goods. My understanding right now, nobody taking white goods, refrigerators, even at the landfill not taking. And you almost got people in a situation where I can't take it to the landfill, I can't keep it in my house. What do I do with it? You know what I mean? It's kind of like a bad situation. Now, let me ask you this, because I knew at one time they was talking about people being able to come on your land and do some cleanup. The insurance business really hurting a lot of people because they were so slow about doing what they need to do. Now you got these people that just getting resources to get the house cleaned up and stuff, so now they don't have nowhere to put it. Do we have any means of going back to the people, the power to be, to say, hey, can we get another pickup for hurricane debris? We still got a lot of it still around in the community. I was told in Bluffstown that they was getting ready to have some more services that was rendered from the storm that was hearsay. So I was just wondering if that's something that we might be able to look into.
Oh, I think we could look into it. I'm not sure what it would involve, Charles, but, that's an idea. You could have a 1 week clean sweep, put it out there,
Put
and
it out
this
in the
is it,
community.
but I have no idea what the volume, how much it would cost. I mean, but I would certainly feel like we could look into it. Now, white goods, I'm not sure. John, do you know what's going on with that?
I don't, it's the first I'd heard that BCC is not taking white
Yeah,
goods.
I was told a couple people in the community that they tried to take it out to them, and they told me at this time they're not taking it. So
I haven't heard that,
So that's something we'll have to definitely look at.
Look into it.
Yeah.
Jim, do you mind looking into that?
Yes, that's the first I've heard of it too, so yeah, we'll call and see if we find out.
And because like I said, I was just looking, you can drive around the community, and this is not a one area situation. We got trash everywhere.
Oh, I agree.
And if we continue, like I said, you said if somebody puts something on my property, if I don't see them, then you're gonna charge me. But, I mean, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like I said, I can't stay out in the alley in different ways and police or something that the police can't even catch you who doing it, so now you want me to, figure out. So I don't, we're gonna have to come with something, and I believe if we clean the city up one time, get it all gone, then I think we won't have such a problem.
Right.
And I'm kinda like the young lady that just left, I have a truck, so I can take mine out to out there to get rid of, but you got a lot of people, and I have used my truck to help some people in the community get rid of the trash.
Right.
But I think it's gonna have to be something bigger. We might have an amnesty day one time, and say, hey, we're gonna pick up everything in the city
Right.
one time, and then we're not gonna do it anymore.
Yep. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Okay. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0.
Resolution 2019-09, a resolution of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, establishing a schedule of fees for the collection of waste as detailed in ordinance number 347, section 54-5, adopted by the City on June 20, 2006, and providing for an effective date.
What up, sir?
That's all I have under my heading.
Very good. Anybody have anything to adjourn? No. Okay. Under old business, Jim, go ahead.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The first item of business we have is the Capital City Bank lease agreement. We have Mr. Ramsey Sims here today. He wanted to talk to you about it.
All right, sir. Come right up, state your name again, and please sign in. Yeah.
As Jim, I want to add, I want to be respectful of your time. My name is Ramsey Sims. I'm with Capital City Bank. I'm the Metro Banking Executive. I live in Tallahassee. This is one of the markets that I manage, work with Waylon and his team. First of all, I want to thank the city for allowing us to put our, as we affectionately call it, our trailer on a portion of the city park adjacent to our bank property. Obviously, none of us could have expected what was going to happen this time last year. We certainly didn't expect to be there more than 6 to 12 months right after this initially happened. But getting the temporary space allowed us to take a step back and spend some time and really evaluate what we wanted to do with our office here. We're very much committed to this community and are in the plans or in the throes of making plans for a brand new facility. Probably at a different location. It's not as close to the water as our current office is. I was hoping to have a little more information available on that today, but we're still, in fact, I'm supposed to get documents on it tomorrow, so I'm hoping within the next few weeks we will be able to make an announcement. But when I found out that the city was asking for $3,000 a month in rent, I thought, gosh, that seems high. So I went to Jim Anderson and asked him if he would bring to the city a counter proposal from us at $2,000 a month. And what I didn't tell in detail to Jim, which I thought might be more beneficial if I did that today, was where I came up with that number. I tried to do some research with my commercial real estate folks who obviously do nothing but real estate for a living and find a commercially reasonable comp, if you will, a comparable. So what they did was they did some research for me, and they said, well, we can't find not many public park leases where we're just leasing essentially a small rectangular piece of dirt, but there were, that was prior to this non-revenue producing for the city, and certainly has been for the last 12 months, even with us there. They came back and said, well, we see this pretty regularly in the outdoor signage business. So whether it's a public park, state-owned property, or a private landowner, the company will come in and essentially lease a similar sized piece of dirt. And so they came back to me and said, well, based on the location and the traffic count and all the facts that go with an outdoor signage company, they said the property, the size of that property, given that you have access to it directly from your property, typical lease is anywhere from $600 to $900 per month. So that's $7,200 to a little over $10,000 a year. So how I came up with the $2,000 a month was, well, we didn't pay anything last year. We want to make sure that we compensate the city for that. So if you take the high end of that number, which would have been the $900 a month, multiply it by 2, it's still a little less than $24,000. Keeping in mind that we have agreed in the current lease and will agree in the next one to fully repair the park and put the power poles back and restore it to its pre-existing condition before we moved on. As I mentioned, we're very committed to this community. We're excited about the future here. We're planning to have a new office with some neat technology. We're excited about that. Since we're going to, in all likelihood, have a new facility at a different location, we're going to need another year. Construction should be 8 to 9 or 10 months, and then we'll have some time to put in all of our networking and equipment and whatnot. So with that, I'm just respectfully requesting that the city reconsider its $3,000 a month. I think if we had known a year ago that it was gonna cost us $36,000, we probably would have put the trailer on our property and saved the money. You know, it costs a lot to do the setup, and it would cost us a good bit of money to then move it, less than $36,000. But we don't want to be there, just like you guys don't want us to be there. It's a necessary evil for us right now, and we hope you guys will reconsider. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll go first. I don't mind. I believe didn't we set our budget based on that number?
We did.
I think we did, yes.
So that's one problem that I see that we have by reducing that rate. The second issue I see is, I believe it was a 15-month lease,
Yes, sir, that sounds correct.
and we haven't seen any plans from anybody, and the rate of what building and commercial building is going right now, I don't see you being fully operational in something else in 10 months. I just don't see that. But saying all that, I mean, my thoughts are mainly the budget issue we have. If we do reduce the rate, and then just going from there. I mean, that's a main issue I have.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Ramsey, when you first spoke a minute ago, I made a note when you used the word probably. And if I misquote you, please correct me. But I believe when you were talking about your future plans, you said, and we will probably have an announcement in the near future. Has the bank decided where they're going to be next?
Tentatively, yes. We have signed a letter of intent, and we're just waiting on the actual documents to come in so we can make sure that they line up. But we have budgeted for a new facility at this point.
Okay.
I mean, the alternative is we could continue to stay in our current location and renovate. Problem is we may, God forbid, we might be back in the situation because it's not any farther away from the water than it was a year ago.
Right.
So yeah, we are staying, and we have got it. We looked at buying existing buildings and renovating. We looked at several new locations, and we're back to focusing on one new facility. If for whatever reason that doesn't work, we're going to renovate and stay where we are. But that's less desirable for us and highly unlikely at this point, given how far down the road we are with our new plans.
Okay.
I mean, I've already shared with our associates and our community board. I know Eugene was there, Mark Costin was there, I can't remember who else was there, but they have seen, we've already spent the architectural money to design the building based on the lot and everything that goes with it.
Okay, and the reason that I question when you use that term, probably.
Probably was more in relation to the timing than the announcement.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I just don't know when we're gonna have the documents finalized, signed, so that we can make an announcement.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mayor, I'll say, I've been talking with the folks at the bank for the last 6 months saying, what's the plan, what's the plan? All I looked for out of this agreement was some forward momentum, and I wanted to make sure that this was not your permanent home in that trailer. So,
Trust me, we don't want it to be.
Neither do they.
I know.
I'm happy with the assessment. I think that's fair. We have several properties that we rent commercially, but we provide the building. I don't have any land that I've ever rented, but I think what you said is fair about what the going rate could be to a signage company. We did base our budget off of that $36,000 figure. And I guess your alternative would be to just move it back onto your lot, which is an expense to you as well. But if that happened, we're looking for $36,000 in the budget as opposed to 12. something to think about. I support the idea of a $2,000 a month.
Well, and I want to remind the board that we discussed the figure of 2,000, and then we discussed the figure of 3,000, and we talked about the differences between what we thought was fair, and we decided on a 5-0 vote to agree to 3,000, and that was based on us also looking at the fact that we had not received anything from the business for now roughly a year. And you weren't here when I said it, so I'll say it again. I think we made a mistake, and I owned up to my part of it, because we were so focused on helping and doing what was right to get these businesses and homeowners back in line where they need to be, that in this situation, we probably should have initially had some kind of agreement to a payment, a lease of payment. And
We don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I think we would have been perfectly amenable to that.
yeah,
as
and
well.
that was on our, I'll take ownership for that. We actually had one citizen bring that up at the very meeting that we agreed to let you have use of the property for free. And his way of looking at it was, it's city land, you charge other people to come and have cookouts, festivities, and those kinds of things. So that was on us, but I want to remind everyone that we discussed the 2,000 versus the 3,000, and it was 5-0 to hold it to 3. And I'm still going to maintain that I think that's fair, and if we can help you in the future in getting things moving a little quicker, or help with permits or locations or anything like that, we're more than willing to do that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Just one last comment, and we all did vote 5-0 on that. My thoughts behind that were, we were under the impression, at least I was under the impression, that that would have been an acceptable offer to the bank. If I had different information, I probably would have went with the lower number, but I did think that we could get that. That's true.
Well, I want to say that I did vote for the amount of 3,000, but I did say that I thought that it should be less. I did say that that I thought about when we did lease the property, it was because of a catastrophe, and people needed to do some banking, and I still feel that 3,000 may be a little bit too much. I would rather 2,500 or 2,000. I would love for them to stay on the property so that we could collect something from it. But if we're gonna vote on this, I don't know if I agree with the 3,000 right now.
Well, I think, Mr. Attorney, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but at this stage of the game, if we want to look at a different amount, the maker of the motion is going to have to make a motion to rescind that motion, and then because we've already voted, this board's already voted, so we can't really just go back and say it doesn't count. So we've got to rescind that motion to have a new motion for a new amount. Am I?
Generally following the history of this board, yes, sir, that would be correct.
Yeah, I just wanted to have on record,
Okay.
have on record how I felt about the situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree in the beginning, like Commissioner Hoffman said, that we were out to help anybody and everybody we could, and probably should have had some type of monetary agreement in place. And I just know what we budgeted for. Is there intent? Is that what you're saying? Is there intent to try to put this back on your property?
Yeah, that's our alternative. And it would cost us less to relocate it than it would to pay the $36,000 for the next 12 months.
Well, and the other thing that needs to be brought up again was, you talked about dealing with the real estate side to get comps, and I used to do some real estate. I think I actually spoke to you a few times now that I look at your name.
Yep.
So you're very well versed in the concept of proposal or an offer, a counter offer, and then a counter to the counter. And the last time this came up, I pointed out that you never take the offer or the counter, you always make another counter. So if we're going to move towards renegotiating all of this, we definitely wouldn't be at 2,000.
Well, then I amend mine to 1,000.
You've already showed your hand. Yeah. But I appreciate
But
that.
the 2,000 was really again, it's a premium over what was commercially reasonable based on the information that we had.
Yeah, and I get it. I see exactly what you're doing. You're pointing out what would have been a more reasonable amount. And we didn't have those figures, and that's where we ended up struggling between 2 and 3. And the fact that it is in the budget, and we actually discussed what some of that money, if not all of it, would be applied to in the year we have now started since October the 1st. I think Commissioner Lowry brings up a good point, and that is there's more connected to that decision now than just the monetary amount. It's now affected the budget. That's all I have.
Well, let's do it this way. I'll entertain a motion to rescind the $3,000 a month and a motion for another amount in one motion. If somebody wants to make that motion, then there's a second. If not, it'll die for lack of a second. We'll move on.
I'll make that motion, to rescind the vote for the amount of $3,000.
And in your motion, you should put in there what the appropriate amount you think we should charge at this point.
Okay, I think the appropriate amount will be $2,500
Okay.
instead of the 3.
Okay?
I'll second, Mayor.
Motion, Commissioner Langston, second by Commissioner Ashbrook. In discussion, I see the attorney, you okay?
Mayor, according to Robert's Rules of Order, a motion to rescind would require 4 yes votes, assuming Mr. Hoffman is not on board with this, which at this point he's not indicated with a first or second.
Okay. Now, of course, I don't think we've ever adopted Robert rules at this board since I've been on here, so I don't, we can't do like Calvin on one of the comic book strips and make rules as we go along. I realize that too. So we do need to have some rules or order. So we could go along with it. I don't.
Mayor, the city's never adopted any parliamentary rules.
Yeah.
There are times that we use Robert's Rules, and I want to make sure that I advise the commission to my full ability.
Very good. Good. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on, and we'll motion and a second for the rescinding the 3 and charging $2,500 to Captain City Bank. In this discussion.
I just want to ask a question. How long is this term?
Will it be for the term that was agreed on originally, 15 months?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
part of your motion, part of your second? Okay.
I have one question. Are we in agreement that it would require a 2/3 vote to change the original vote of 5-0?
No,
I don't believe it will.
So we're not going to utilize Robert's rules.
We've never adopted them, and that'd be something we probably need to look at in the future, but, and since I've been on the board, we've never used, have adopted Robert's Rules of Order as the way we do business, even though it's a good way to go.
We still in discussion? Mr.
Yes,
Mayor?
sir.
Are you is your company agreeable on a 15-month lease?
I don't know. I think we would need at least 10 to 12. I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest with you.
Wasn't that the original?
Yeah, I think, I thought it came from Captain City, that was big
what I thought.
about what it was gonna take to get in the new place and get out of the current place, so.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
my understanding as well.
I
The
think
15 months
what we
came from this.
requested was 9 months with month-to-month options, so that if we had the new building ready, we could go ahead and clean up the park and move without having to continue to pay rent.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No.
Aye.
Fails 3-2. Thank you, sir. All right, next item is disc golf, page 7 through 13. Jim, go ahead.
Yes, sir, man. We had a discussion in our last meeting about disc golf. We've been talking about it for some time, actually before the storm. We had a chance this past week to look at it at the staff level. Mr. McCoy is familiar with disc golf. Had some conversations with Mr. Bill Kennedy. I think the last place we were looking at was around Buck Griffin Lake. We maintain around the lake. I think there's some merit there to be able to have it there to go ahead and start you. Was it a 9-hole course to start with, Mr. McCoy?
That's correct, a 9-hole course. And since we already have the parking and the bathroom facilities there at the 16th Street Park, and laying out the course using both 16th Street and Buck Griffin Lake around the lake, a 9-hole course, and the initial cost would simply be $3,000 to purchase the baskets for each hole, and not fully laying out the complete course as far as paving the tee boxes and so forth, just initially laying out the 9 holes, and then seeing how it works, and then going from there and adjusting from there.
Kind of a soft entry to have the 9 holes. We're actually working to put the bridge back in place where the walking path was, and you have a current bridge that attaches on going to the Marvin Avenue side from Duder Park.
So what I'm looking here at here in our agenda packet goes from 16th to 10th Street. So we kind of modified that and think it's better to be around Buck Griffin Lake.
Absolutely, because we already...
Starting, so we're talking about from 16th to 20th.
That's correct.
Will be the layout.
That's correct. We already maintain that facility. We already keep the grass cut and so forth, and you already have the parking and bathroom facilities there. It would make it more convenient. And there are a lot of nice obstacles and trees around the lake, and that provide a nice design for the layout of the disc course. And we've met with recently, and they've discussed it internally, and they like the idea. And certainly if the sport were to take off, then you have the option of doing other things in other spaces. But initially we thought this might be better, but from our standpoint, from a maintenance and so forth.
Very good. I like it.
Who put this together in our packet? Reese?
Reese actually did the initial plan.
Actually, I had dinner with a gentleman last night. His son's heavily involved in disc golf, and he's got property in where he lives in Wisconsin. He's a resident here, but he maintains property there. They had their 48th annual disc golf tournament on their property this year. I didn't know it had been going on that long. They 48 years. His son actually designs disc golf courses. So.
Yeah, there's a course at the Under the Oaks there in Parker.
Yeah.
There's one there at the facility.
So I'm good. I think we voted to do it. Let's keep going and discussion on that. Everybody good?
Well, I think it's a better location than what I thought was the location an hour earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think so.
The only comment that I have, Mayor, is we've tried this park thing once before and it didn't quite play out the way we expected. So have we notified people around what's going on?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
No, not to my knowledge.
No,
So-
no.
Is that
So-
something that we feel like we might want to do before we start putting baskets on the ground or no?
It's up to the board. I'm just the mayor and y'all are part of the deal. So, if you would like to have someone, go house to house and tell them, or do we put it on, I mean, how do you?
Yeah, we're not
guys want to do
talking,
it?
what, 10 houses?
10 houses.
Well,
Between-
no, you're talking both sides of the
Right.
of Buck
Yeah.
Griffin Lake.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, you're gonna use both sides of the,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
both
But
sides.
it would end at 16th Street.
It would
correct?
start at 16th and loop all the way around the lake and then come back.
Right.
Across.
So go all the way to 20th possibly,
Yeah,
all the way to 20th?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly can revise the packet to show the new layout and something we could put out to citizens at that point.
Right, because it'd be the backyard of the houses on Marvin from 16th back to 20th.
That's correct.
And then, I guess, the
Front
front
yards.
of the other ones there on that one
Certainly.
road.
Yeah, if that's the board's wishes, we certainly can go that route.
That'd be great. I think so.
Yeah, I think
Everybody would like
wouldn't-
to.
I think the people will be excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent idea, this disc golf, but I also think that, the few people that it's gonna, the home that it's gonna affect, just notify them and let them know what's going on at least.
Yeah. And it's low impact. I don't think it's going to be a big problem.
No, it's certainly low impact, and we're hopeful that the kids will see adults playing, and then it'll draw more activity to those parks. Yeah.
I hope it'll get my kid off his PlayStation.
There you go. That's what we all want.
First tournament they had on their 48-year tournament, first tournament they had four participants.
Wow.
And now they have to hold it to 48 because folks want to play.
I enjoy playing.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I have something else.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Are we gonna be charging, to use facilities?
No.
Okay.
Okay, everybody good with the disc golf proposal? Okay. Moving on to the government complex grant.
Yes, sir, Mayor. We have received $312,500 grant from the state of Florida from legislative appropriation to look at securing a site, potentially engineering work or survey work on a new government complex. If you look, I did hand you a couple of pieces of paper that indicate parcels that are just being thought about, considered for the government complex. We need to start getting our thoughts together because that money has to be expended by the end of June 2020. The two parcels that you're looking at, like I said, it's just informal at this point, is the parcel that actually attaches to the property here. We're not even sure if the owner would even sell it to us. The other property that has been talked about in the past was actually, the city had a lease on it, I believe, several years back for a City Hall complex. It is the property behind CVS, actually currently owned by the Apalachicola Northern Railroad. It's an ideal centralized site, but I'm not sure the property would be available there either. But we have got to be thinking about how we want to spend the money. Do you want the complex to one day encompass everything from your building department, City Hall, commission chambers, to fire department, to police department? These are all things we need to think about. Today is just getting it started, just to be thinking about, is there other sites that we may want to pursue or even look at to bring back to the board for consideration?
When do we have to have that money expended by before we have to give it back?
June 30th, 2020 is what we indicated, within this fiscal year for the state.
I asked Jim to lay out the property next to David Langston Drive, on the east side of David Langston Drive, and actually got a call into George Gonzalez to see if they would be interested in selling us. It's a perfect central location, and I just called him this morning, so I hadn't gotten called back, but it's a prime piece of property for what we want to do, instead of moving it away from the city. downtown area.
What's the acreage there, Mayor?
I don't know that, I'm sorry. I don't know that. But David Langston Drive runs kind of right through the middle of that little funny shaped piece toward the front. And my thoughts were on the east side back toward where the railroad shop, locomotive repair area.
You're thinking in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about from there back.
Oh, all of that?
Well,
I got
as much as we can get.
Yeah, yeah.
If we can square off a piece in there.
Do they own this parcel too? That piece?
Everything. No, I think maybe St. Joe owns that,
Okay,
and the railroad owns everything in Blue.
gotcha, okay. Where were you thinking though, encompassing?
No, actually, I was thinking
here?
about
Okay.
from there back, David Langston Drive runs right through the middle of that piece there, and go from Langston Drive back that way, if we could find it, square something off.
Right.
If they'd sell it to us 5 or 6 acres.
I'm all for encompassing everything under one roof, if possible, if we could fit it in there. One other thing we need to think about is the fire station too. And flood zone would be my concern there. So that would be one of the main things that I would be looking at. Because we flooded there where we're at currently.
Yes, sir. And of course, you got to think about enough acres for retention ponds and those type things. But it's going to happen. But if we're lucky enough to get a nice piece in there, my thoughts were to get an architect and draw up a complex that would include everything we have: the fire department, police department, everything, and then build it in stages.
Yeah.
Build the administrative building first and then work from there.
How long would we have to actually break ground on a building? Is there a time frame on spending if we were fortunate enough to receive that funding? I think we talked about $25 million possible funding. Is there a time frame based on building and completion, or would it be safe to say we can focus currently on a location and purchasing either all or part of the amount owed on the land?
Mr. Hoffman, the only money we have secured right now is that $312,500 for. It can be used for security of the property, engineering work, or for surveying to get it prepped on there. We don't have a pipeline for money at this point to build a complex on there. We've talked about at some point the rules may allow for you to apply for that with those CDBG DRs, but they haven't even came up with the rules yet. So no, sir, the only thing we have money for right now is to try to see if you can secure a site and do some engineering work if money allows you to do it.
So if we did pick a site and were successful in purchasing the site, would it be safe to say we've done what we had to do as far as the proper way of spending the initial 315, let's say?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't have to buy something that within a year start building?
No, sir. What they want to do is they want to make sure that you're starting that process, and we had that conversation with them, because they realize $312,000 is not going to buy a complex. But what this will start the groundwork for you to move forward in that direction, because the chances are this is a long-range goal. It may be 10 years before this thing has finally come, but now's the time we got to start planning, because the complex we have is very old and it did flood. So the next generation hopefully will have a city hall complex that will encompass all this. One day we're going to go to a full-time fire department, not today, but one day the city will have to look at that, and we want to be prepared.
Okay, anybody else on complex grant?
I like the idea of looking at this versus, I like the centralization of it.
If we somehow get hold of it, that'd be a wonderful thing.
Mayor, I think at this point, can we see if staff can work out a deal on that and bring it back to us? If this falls through, then we'll look elsewhere?
Hope we get a call back the next day or so, and get the ball rolling. Yep.
We'll keep it on the agenda, and we'll keep, if anybody has any other ideas of other property, bring it back. We'll just keep bringing it to the board, because we know we got to spend that money by the end of the fiscal year.
That's right. All right, we're on the police department building. I keep bringing it up, and looking at the government complex, I don't see us getting a government complex for any sooner than probably 5 years. And we need to renovate that police department, give our police a permanent home, give them nice new offices, nice new air conditioning. I think they'd probably be excited about that. Is that correct, Chief? Don't know. Maybe.
We're gonna do it right.
Yeah. Where you are, we appreciate the county. It's free of charge, I know, but we do have insurance money enough to renovate our police department. And I'd like to see us go ahead with that. There's no guarantees where they are. The new state's attorney will be coming in there in the next couple of 3 years. He may decide that they need that space. So police department need a home. So
Well, I have one question about that. What was the results of the mold mitigation? Last time that I spoke with the city staff, I wanted assurance that we did not have a mold issue in the police department. And I believe we were going to get the group back to look at that a little closer and find out where we are. I'm just curious, did we get a report?
I don't know.
No, I don't know if we ever pursued that for the
We
police
had
department.
we had the initial one that was done by, what was the group that came in?
Yeah,
We paid the $30-something thousand for City Hall and the police department initially. That was the first place that was worked on when it was taken out initially on there. I have to go back and look at the report, but that was, what was the name of the group that came?
But you do have that report.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was like a cleanup.
Cleanup.
I just want some assurance that the building that we're talking about spending money on, the first thing we have to do is make sure it's a safe environment before we're going back in. I haven't been in the building, but I've had reports that there was, after the cleanup, there was mold in the building because maybe we waited too long to get something started. I don't know. I just want to have that assurance before we entertain moving forward with construction.
I agree with that.
Don't have a problem with it. We just need to
We need to pull it
authorize
together.
staff to contract with a mold inspection firm, mitigation firm, whatever, to do a assessment of the whole city hall,
I
for that
agree.
matter.
Yeah.
But, hope they don't find anything, because we won't have anywhere to go if they do. We can move to the Centennial Building. It's getting ready to get renovated. Okay, Jim, can you look into that? I appreciate it. Okay, next item, computer upgrades.
Yes, sir, Mayor. During the budgetary process, we budgeted right at $100,000 to move Munis, which is our primary utility billing system, to the cloud and to do offsite storage. We have those numbers here for you today. The outright purchase is about $142. For the Dell lease purchase, to stay right within the budgetary amount for this year is $102.9. Staff recommendation, along with our IT personnel, is to go with the Dell lease. It's a 3-year lease. You actually own the equipment into the period, and that's what we've done in the past for a computer group.
I'll make a motion to that effect, Mayor.
You can make a motion to go with the Dell lease for the new computer upgrade system.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Ashbrook. There's a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hoffman. Any further discussion or any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. All right, let's get going on that. And by the way, all of us get the Quality Cities magazine in our box, and there's one fantastic article in this month's Quality Cities on protecting yourself, the computer issues with malware and those type things, cyber taking over your systems. So please read that if you get a chance. All right, new business, First Street lift station easement.
Yes, sir, Mayor. City staff has been trying to move towards securing a site for a new lift station. As you're aware, we have applied for money from the state legislative appropriation and through DM to try to get help with funding a new lift station that was badly damaged after the storm. What we have is St. Joe Company has given us a piece of property for us to consider for an easement. Basically, all we have to pay is the closing cost plus the survey work. We have a task order in there for you. We feel this is a great deal for the city to secure a piece of property adjacent to your current lift station. Anytime you build a new lift station, Gravity, you want to get as close proximity as you can unless you absolutely have to change that location. Most of it's cost prohibitive. Staff recommendation that we move forward on this lease with the St. Joe Company to secure a site for your lift station.
I applaud you guys for getting it, because it could hurt us down the road if we didn't have it. So is there a motion to sign the agreement with the St. Joe Timberlands for an easement on our First Street lift station?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Lowry, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. All right, Jim, thank you for that. Next item.
Yes, sir. The next item we have is for electrical service to request a bid for a continuous services contract. We want to have a backup plan. We want to be able to reach out to somebody in case we have an emergency need, for whether it's the water plant, the sewer plant, or to work on some kind of electrical issue within the city itself. The fact we have 2 electricians currently on staff. They're doing a great job, but we want to have a backup plan. This past year, we had a lot of help from outside sources. We feel now is the time to go ahead and do that RFQ. That way you've got somebody in case of an emergency situation.
Well, if we go out RFQ, do we need to write in there some stipulations that they're experienced in some of the areas that they're going to be working, especially the water plant, wastewater with the type power they have out there? I mean, it keeps us from having 20 people bid on it and only 2 of them really qualified to do that type of work.
Yes, sir. We've had this discussion. I think Mr. McClama and Mr. Pettis feel the same way. There needs to be some industrial experience involved in there to be able to vet these people out, because in response time, because there's going to come a time when, Larry, if our electricians are not available and we have an emergency situation, we may have to reach out to that consultant or that contractual services to come in the middle of the night to make a repair.
Okay. All right, guys, what's the pleasure of the board?
I definitely agree with it. I mean, having a backup plan never hurts.
I agree with that. So I'll entertain a motion to go out an RFQ for a continuous service contract for electrical service.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ashbrook, there's a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Langston. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. All righty. Moving on along, Public Works, Mr. John.
No, sir, I don't have any, one update I will tell the board is the bridge for 16th Street is in production, so it's being built. So hopefully within the next 4 weeks, you know, it's perhaps here.
So what about the engineering for the pad to put it on?
We received an initial foundation plan Friday, which was not necessarily correct, so we're in the redo process of that.
Okay.
And so it shouldn't be an issue getting it here and installed well before the bridge.
Okay. And Jones Homestead about to wrap up.
We are on our last street as far as main line, and then it's just connections and services. So BTC's on site today shooting bore shots, you know, for services and main line. We have 3 main line shots and 25 services to shoot, so they should wrap that up this week. And with any luck, we're out in 2 weeks.
Very good. Any questions for?
Do we have a price on the bridge that's kind of in the middle of the 2 lakes there at Gulf Griffin?
Not yet, sir. We haven't went out. You know, one of the things that we wanted to look at with this initial bridge was, you know, its construction, you know, the time, and perhaps that's something I think that if we're all in agreement and like it, we do that for the other bridges as well.
I think we should focus on, while they're here, getting a price on for sure that bridge. The other one's going to be more of a job. But that middle bridge, I don't think there's a whole lot to that.
It's smaller than what we just purchased, so.
Right.
I mean, I can get a price if that's the desire of the board for, for that.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do.
And John, the walkway, I'll call it walkway bridge or whatever, down at 20th Street that's blocked off, is it unsafe for folks to be on?
Yeah.
It's totally unsafe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got some serious damage to the, the pile system and the runners underneath, so.
At some point in time, we need to look at either taking it out or replacing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think the replacement's kind of the road we're going down, not necessarily where that's at,
Right.
but moving it maybe up on the right of way to creating a much smaller bridge, if you will.
Yeah, okay. Very good.
Mayor, Commissioner, we did actually go out to bid 3-4 months ago, but that's where we got the $250,000 number. That was going to replace the wood bridge that we're now doing with the aluminum and the other two, but it was just cost prohibitive when it came back to like $250. So yes, sir, we're going back and breaking these down, just like we are with the city pier. That's back out to bid again too, to bring it back to you. We had no bidders on that one, so some of these things may take time, cost prohibitive, and just people got so much work that they're not bidding.
Right. Okay. All right. Anything else for John? Mr. Larry, surface water?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Commissioners, you should have received a handout from Florida Rural Water. It's about a proposed pilot study. We want to determine if we can recycle our filter backwash water. Recycling is a common thing. The Bay County Water Treatment Plant, where I used to work, they recycle their backwash water. They bring it back around and retreat it. Instead of like we've been doing, which is we send it to waste. We send it to, but that's the way the plant was designed. And the benefits from retreating the water, you don't have to use as much chemical because you're blending treated water with non-treated water. So we cut back on chemicals, save some money that way. We don't send as much water to the wastewater plant. We cut down on that. We would like to proceed with this study and see if we can do this at our plant. We just wanted you to be aware of it.
And rural water will come down and run the pilot study?
They're going to do it, yes, sir. They're going to conduct it, yes, sir.
For 4,000 something. So what was it? $4,750.
Yes, sir, correct. And we just wanted you to be aware of it.
I think it's great. How much water do we send to?
We're estimating around 50,000 gallons a day. That's a lot of waste.
That's a lot of waste.
And we want to do something about that. First, we want to do the study and just make sure it'll work. And if it does, then we'll proceed from there, see if we can get funding for it. And Florida Rural Water said they will try to help us with that.
So what's the anticipated cost to make it happen if the study proves positive?
You probably have to talk to the man on my right here because he knows more about pipes and what they cost. And so we hadn't done a real cost. We ain't got that far yet with it. That's what will come from this study. Yeah.
Nothing's cheap.
Yeah, that's.
But if it'll save us in the long run, save us chemicals and so forth, it may be cost effective.
That's the question.
Maybe. We'll wait and see.
Well, that's the goal. We're trying to find ways to save money. That's what it is.
We appreciate you doing
And
that.
if we can get some grant money to get the money.
Absolutely.
Do you have the $4,750 in your budget?
Yes, sir, that's easy. Yes, sir.
That's easy, okay. Entertain a motion to accept the Florida Rural Water proposal for a pilot study at the water plant.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Langston, second by Commissioner Ashbrook. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Kevin?
We're still in the same position as far as maintenance work. That's what we do pretty much all month, every day.
Replacing the filters.
Filters and nozzles and cleaning everything up. Got to put it back into, back in proper shape.
Good.
We're still on track, kind of where we thought we'd be.
Good deal. Good deal. questions for Kathy? Okay, Mike?
Mayor, we're still in transition, in closing last fiscal year and opening the new fiscal year. We're still working with FEMA on all of these things we just talked about, the bridges on Buck Griffin Lake and the pavilion on the water, and renegotiating with them on the cost and recovery funds for those. Those projects are moving along, and I think we're past the halfway point, thankfully. I think in them costing all of our damages. So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months, we'll have most everything costed. But the FEMA process is moving along, and so is our new fiscal year.
Are you still working with the same FEMA rep? Is he still with us?
He has transitioned out, and we have a new rep, and we're very pleased with Bill Simmons, I think is his name. Bill Smith. Bill Smith.
Good.
Yeah. So we're very pleased with the new rep, and he has kind of reinvigorated us to move along and prompt us. We still have some big projects that we have to tackle, and we're working on those.
Okay. Questions for Mike? Okay. City engineer is on fall break, I think. Jim or John, y'all have a report on?
Yes, sir. I did have a chance to talk to Mr. Smallwood last week. A couple of things to rope on. On Friday, we turned Roberts loose on Critter Sims Park, as we indicated from the board, as your wishes to move forward with that. So that is moving forward. Also some patches and the trail lighting. He's working with Duke Energy to make that happen, to finalize the trail lighting and the repairs.
So Duke's still holding us up on the trail?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Kevin, go ahead.
Something we got a DEP inspection, so DEP will be with us Thursday morning coming in. The governor's added extra money and extra personnel for dischargers, is what they call them. So we should be in good shape. Everything's on track, but we will be inspected Thursday morning.
We'll be praying for that.
Thank you.
Okay, code enforcement. Jim, you want to report on that? I think we had a motion to hire part-time. Any results?
On the initial advertisement, we did not have any applications for the code enforcement or the special master. We have re-advertised, and we have applications now for the part-time code enforcement. We still have not seen anything to my knowledge on the special master. We've re-advertised that, and we actually put a motion or put an ad in the Panama City paper. So we desperately need a special master, because we probably can list 15 or 20 that will need to go to the special master for a hearing.
Yeah.
So please get the word out that we need a special master.
Okay. All right. Okay, police department, Mr. Matt.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything today, and the board has any questions for me?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Charlotte, city clerk.
Ghost on the Coast is moving forward. Volunteers are coming forward. We're utilizing some of them to help with different phases of it. In the past, Waste Pro provided all the candy. I don't know if our new carrier will step up and do that or not. They have been afforded the opportunity. So right now, we're gonna need a lot of candy.
Okay.
When you say they've been offered the opportunity, did they just not respond, or?
They requested the information, I sent it to them, and I have not heard anything yet.
Okay. Well, I didn't either. So Waste Pro provided all the candy, and then it was distributed to the merchants, or I thought
They brought
merchants
it to
bought
City
it.
Hall, we handed it out from the sidewalk that night, but they
Okay,
did provide that.
Yeah. The city hall, basically administrative workers and so forth, had a booth or a
Yes, sir.
table. Okay.
Table.
Just the candy, just for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
More
Duke
sense.
Energy provides the little trophies that we hand out in the costume contest.
Right.
And they will do that again this year.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Shaw? Okay. Citizens to be heard. Anybody in the audience like to speak, please come forward. name, address, and sign it.
Yes, sir.
Clipboard.
Christy McElroy, 1311 Woodward Avenue. I am thrilled that the staff worked to kind of think about another area because there's a couple of things. One, when I look at the numbers associated with Frisbee Golf that was put in the packet, you have like 97 people that participate in tournaments in a city like Tallahassee that has over 200,000 people. Panama City, basically Bay County, I think they have like 120,000 people. And you have lots of tourists coming in, et cetera, and you've got about 87 people. So that's not even 1% of a population, not to mention tourists. So it goes back to return on investment, always does. And I look at our bike path, our walking paths, especially next to the bay. And, you know, they're a wreck down there. And we need to start thinking about putting that loop back. Because I live on that bike path and I've got a down fence. I see all the people and all the tourists that use it constantly, from sunup to sundown. So again, return on investment, who was asked for the Frisbee Golf, 2 people, thinking about the neighborhood, remembering we had a lawsuit. Y'all came to us, and the county came to us, asking us to dismiss the lawsuit. We didn't go to y'all. We didn't go to the county. We were ready to go to court.
That's not how I was.
Well, you were.
That's not how it occurred.
It is how it occurred because my attorney called us and said, look, this is what we're looking at. And I said 2 things. As long as they admit they need development orders and they can't put the camel's nose under the tent and keep going. And you weren't the attorney, Mr. Attorney.
Address the board, please. And
Let me finish.
Oh, go ahead and then 3 minutes.
So, no, because you don't have Robert's rules. And this is important, Mayor, because
Go
it's
ahead.
about the
Go ahead.
taxpayer dollars.
Go ahead.
So, a development order and the fact that you need that. And then you also have a NERDA grant, and I'm not hearing anything about that. And that NERDA grant is based off of existing conditions. Existing conditions. And I worked very hard with DEP, and I strongly advise y'all go back and look at that grant. And so trying to figure out, because we say we care about the bay, what are the impacts for these things that we put in? What are the soft impacts? What are the hard impacts? Because this NERDA grant is about existing conditions. So I'm going to give you the newspaper article, and actually Tim captured this pretty good. And then, of course, the other thing is you still have a Field of Dreams for a sports complex with a deed. And what I see, because Ms. Charlotte has been great when I do a public records request, is the TDC is not stepping up for this city. They have given a total from 2015 to 2018 of $39,000 to the city. And then they gave another $5,000 for fireworks for 2019. We need, because we, within the statute, are the most populated area, we should be getting the lion's share with all the parks that we have and the tax dollars that we collect. And so I'm going to ask y'all to challenge the TDC. We have a representative. And I'm sorry, a splash pad and getting $25,000 that you put, again, down next to the bay, which is supposed to be the jewel of the crown, that's just not a good return on investment either. So you may not like it that I come here and I say these things, but the fact of the matter is, we all spent way too much time and way too much money on something that should never have happened because no one reached out and no one asked our thoughts for us to be involved at all. So that's pretty much all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for your comments very much. Okay, anybody else? Miss Gill, sorry Charles, ladies first.
That's just introduction.
I'm not gonna mention the community gardens today much.
Oh.
We're still working on it.
Oh.
But this is sort of adjacent and it addresses Christie's concerns. So, it is exciting to see that our city is now able to look at our parks after Hurricane Michael. But I think it's important at this point for the city to act on an idea discussed by some of us before the hurricane, and that's to establish a permanent parks committee. And by the way, I'm Jill Beebe and I live at 808 Marvin, and I'll sign this in a minute. A park system can contribute not only to the well-being of the people, but it contributes to the economic vitality, and it can. And there's a lot of ways that our parks and trails could benefit a lot of groups in the city. And so I think those groups should be asked to serve on a committee where they can have input on how to make how to go forward with our parks. And some of the groups are the Port St. Joe Garden Club, the St. Joseph Historical Society, the Dixie Youth Baseball and Softball, the North Port St. Joe Project Area Committee, the Port St. Joe Redevelopment Agency, the Pioneer Bay Community Development Corporation, Washington Improvement Group, Gulf County Chamber of Commerce, Gulf County Citizens Long-Term Recovery Committee, and the Gulf County Master Gardeners. All of these people have things that they could offer. All of these people have ways that they could benefit. And I just feel that without an organized and regular input from a broad range of citizens, you're missing opportunities. I think of things like, I think we should have a history trail. And it should go from it should include the, it should go from the museum out to the cemetery and back to the, what's that thing you guys put up in the lighthouse? Yes, thank you. Sometimes we're sleeping. My husband's worried it's Alzheimer's coming. But we have a lot of history that could be joined by a trail. And you all know how much I feel there should be a trail that joins all of our parks and then loops back through all of our commercial districts, the Martin Luther King Drive area and Reed Avenue. And if you're looking at property in between, maybe that would be deep enough that at the back of that property there'd be room for a trail to go across to try to bridge some of this. But all of this just takes input and it takes planning to give a unified idea. There's a lot of things we can do without a lot of money, and that will enhance it for everybody. And I think we just need a permanent parks committee so we don't keep coming up against these roadblocks, so we can do things in an organized fashion. And I love the idea of disc golf.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Okay, next, Mr. John.
Probably won't come back no more, just saying. But I did hear some stuff that kind of disturbed me, man, and to know that we are on board and we don't have no policy and procedures. Again, I said this once before, and it's right here at the same time, and then we keep beating, well, we know we hadn't done, no reflection of you, ma'am. We hadn't done this the proper way since I've been here. It's a place where you got to start, you know, and like I said, the other thing I wanted to ask you, well, do we have a recreation for the city?
You mean department or
Yeah.
head of it? No.
Okay. So now, I guess staff make a decision when it involves recreation?
Yeah.
Okay. Do, this golf course, 9-hole, have the people in that area been notified, or you guys vote on it again? The people get it?
We've asked staff to reach out to those people and then bring back.
After we done voted?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Again, you know, once you guys done voted on, really, it's too late to reach out to them because you done made a decision.
We hadn't implemented it yet.
Okay, but again,
I understand.
Again, I keep harping on this because I believe that that's a lot of our problem. We need to have some kind of policies and procedures in place. Now, anywhere else will look out besides, now where is this going, Buck Griffin? Okay, was anywhere else looked at besides Buck Griffin?
The golf course area was the other, was the original option.
You mean the wetland?
The 9-hole golf course that we have from 16th Street to 10th Street.
The wetland.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You got other areas that anybody looking to see?
That was the only 2 locations that were looked at.
Actually, there was more than that. I spoke to Reese about it, and we're going back like 3 meetings back is when we first started discussing this. So it didn't come up just today and then got voted on.
Okay.
So I know we've spoken for the last 3 meetings about it, and it was presented by Reese Antley, and the idea had been discussed prior to that. And what I told Reese was to look at multiple places in the city that he would be interested in, and then we would see if myself and the others thought that was doable. He looked at Field of Dreams. There was an issue out there because currently we're in an agreement with someone to use it as a laydown field. So there's construction, tractors, and logging going on. So then I talked to him about the park straight across from the Stack House. There's some city land in there. Then we talked about the property closest to the baseball fields, 10th Street back. And then we talked about Buck Griffin Pond. So and we also talked about Core Park. So all of that has transpired for the last 3 meetings.
Okay. I guess that's what, when we talk about this stuff, do it make the paper so people, the citizens, at least see it?
Well, that'd be up to the writer of the paper, as far as if they wrote an article on it.
It's like when you bring in another policy and thing, when you're trying to do, don't you have to advertise it for so long? But because I don't want you guys to frown every time I come to the commission. But my thing is this: that when I say that, what about Washington Recreation Center? Did anybody look at that area?
We did.
Now we keep talking about the Field of Dreams. We're talking about the issues with the 10th Street area. We're talking about, and they always, my understanding since I've been. I used to work with the recreation department. They always talked about that area being too congested. And we continue to trying to find things to put down in that area. Now, like I said, to me, look like if you're gonna look, then you look and see where the city owns parks and see if we got ample enough room that it won't hinder the community or it would actually make it better. So that's why I'm saying to you guys, but I would like for us to look at getting some policies and procedures, because now, as small as my church is, we operate on the Rocker rules. And to have this big, and you guys say, well, we don't have a set policy, that don't set too good. Okay?
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Marvin.
Yes, Mr. Martin. I didn't make copies. Take a look at these photos right here. You can pass it down. I do not want to throw you on the bus, Commissioner Langston, but I sent this picture to Commissioner Langston, I think it was last week.
That's correct.
This is a friend of mine's house. He lived in Georgia, but his brother lived in the house. But that debris you see out in front of this people's property does not belong to 170 Avenue F, Port St. Joe. I don't know who threw their trash, those debris in front of those people's property. I got some ideas. Okay, I really believe someone from those apartments that was in front of them got some new furniture and dumped it in front of those individuals' property. That's unacceptable. What can we do? I know the individual living in the house, I know he's not able to move it. It's not his, it doesn't belong to him. I will move in my truck if I have a site to move it to, if it don't cost me. But it make that individual property look mighty bad. And I will say it, I will say it. So, and that's not the only place I see people keep on dumping in furniture. You go over there in Leesville area, several different sites. Avenue, right now go down Avenue 8. There's some debris piles across the street on Avenue 8.
We've got problems we know
We
about.
got problems with that.
We do, and unfortunately, Hurricane Michael, it appears in some areas they think we're still in Wild West, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But we're working on that. We're working with our attorney. But there's things that happen in the middle of the night that none of us have any control over.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when we get to items to be discussed by commissioners, I think Commissioner Langston brought something up, meeting before last, or even maybe last meeting, that we're going to continue to work on, and hopefully it'll help, but it's not going to stop that.
Right, exactly.
It's not going to stop that until we catch somebody and write them up. So it's going to take all of us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you saw me a picture, but if we would take pictures of everything that's going on and how people just dumping stuff everywhere, I mean, I can only do what I can do. I mean, I can't sit there and take pictures of somebody. I try to ride by and see what's going on, but that house is not the only one that got stuff somebody throw it out that doesn't live there, you know. So we're trying to work on it and get this thing straight, but it just takes time. All I can say is we're doing the best that we can as far as the trash. I mean, I see it, yeah, I see it, and it makes me frown up and get angry when people do that, but I can't control what people do, and all I can do is try to come up with an idea to make some changes, you know, and that's what we've been working on.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Hoffman. You have anything?
I got a couple items.
Okay.
I'd just like to ask our city attorney to, his opinion of how that lawsuit was settled, because I recall in my mind was looking at emails from the other party, from their attorney, asking that if the city would entertain settling the lawsuit. I think the record should state
As long as you're willing to
one way or the other.
with
If you would
other
weigh in
emails.
as to,
He's asking the attorney something.
you just weigh in on your opinion on that, please.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at a letter from Mike Dickey dated August 8, 2019 to Kayla Platt Rady, one of the attorneys assigned by our insurance carrier to work the case. And Mr. Dickey is reaching out saying that there may be room for a compromise. If you'd please let me know, as I'm preparing for the motion to dismiss, and the offer of the compromise, that we will obtain a development order and comply with our own, we'll comply with state law in return for the dismissal. My understanding, and I'll already, once I get back to my office, I'll provide all this to the commissioners as well, but my understanding is that we were ready to move forward on the motion to dismiss right a week or so before Mr. Dickey reached out to counsel for the city and for the county, but I have no idea what his conversations consist of with the county, just what I've been told in the conversation and what I've seen in writing. and that when he reached out, he was asking for an offer of compromise to resolve this, which we ultimately engaged in.
Okay, and I wanted to make sure that I had not misinterpreted the emails that had been provided to us.
As soon as I get back to my office, I will send each commissioner this letter from Mr. Dickey, Council for Plan.
All right. I like the idea that was just brought to us about creating a committee. I think we should look at that seriously because it goes right in hand with my second item, and that is, I think we're at a point where we should start to prioritize our parks, our areas that, well, they all pretty much need work, but instead of just trying to figure out what we can afford to fix, I think we should look at a prioritizing system. And I was thinking about the tennis courts and hopefully some room for pickleball down there as well. So I support the idea that was brought to us about having a committee, because if we have multiple groups that utilize these parks and citizens that would be enjoying the parks weighing in on prioritizing, we've already accomplished a big part of what we've heard several times today, and that's including the people that are affected by our plans. So I do support that, and I think it's time to form that group and task them with prioritizing areas that need some attention. The other thing is, I would like, if the board would approve it, and Mr. Mayor, if you were to go along with it, I think we should take a head count of the attendance at our meetings. When we decided to split our meeting times at 12 and 6, it was based, and I said it more than once, I didn't want to be the one championing that idea, because I felt like I was probably the most flexible of anyone here being retired. So I still agree with that, but I also explained that I think we should be meeting when the majority of people come to the meetings, wherever that time is. Well, I've been taking note of who's attending and not attending the meetings, not personal people, but just the number of people that come and don't come. And I'm not seeing a big difference between the 12 o'clock attendance versus the 6 o'clock attendance. So I think we should start keeping a record instead of me just tallying on a piece of paper and trying to remember when our best attendance is. I would still support the idea of gathering that data and then later, months down the road, deciding maybe we can revisit that and figure out what's the best time to actually meet.
Can you do that, Ms. Charlotte?
So we've been doing some running totals already.
Okay.
I don't have them right in front of me.
Okay.
Thank you. The last thing, Mr. Mayor, I have is that I'd like to get an update on what the city attorney has researched and come up with, if any new information on the county owing the city the 5th penny bed tax through the TDC. And I'm not sure if Adam is researching that now or I lost you.
I was looking through my emails on the issue.
Yeah, I think the last thing that we discussed was you had the information from the sports committee minutes or whatever, and then there was some discussion as to maybe where you needed to be looking was the actual Board of County Commission meetings, and you had done a public records request.
I had, as of the last meeting, and then last week I followed up asking when I could expect that, and I've received nothing, so I'll follow up.
Okay, I just want to make sure we carry that over under old business until we have some kind of clarity as to if that money's owed.
And I can show you the emails where I've requested it both times if you have any doubt as to.
No, I'm square. I just didn't know if you'd heard from them.
Here's
Thank
the
you.
vote right here.
That's all I have.
Here's the minutes
Mr. Mayor.
from that meeting
Okay.
for the
Mr.
5th
Lowry.
penny.
The only one thing I wanted to speak on was the garbage situation. I've had people calling me and complaining about boxes being next to their garbage, not being picked up. Wanted to make sure and put it on the record and just trying to get the word out and letting everybody know that
BCC's requirement is for the individual to break down those boxes and stick them in the garbage can itself. It doesn't matter if the garbage can is overflowing, but it must be in the garbage can for it to be picked up. Also, he mentioned to me a while back that it was $6 to get a second cart, and based on the rate, it's actually $9.20 to get an extra cart. So for 2 carts, the total would be $29.35 per month, and I wanted to clear that up because I've told several people that it was only going to be the $6. So $29.35 for 2 carts. That's all I have.
Okay.
Just one thing, actually, questions for staff. Could we look into, were there minimum fees to take trash to the landfill when we had Waste Pro? I had someone call me and say it was $10, it was a minimum of 10. Instead of the cost per ton, there's always a minimum fee. Did that happen before, or is this new?
I think there was, Commissioner, I'm not 100% sure, it seemed like several times when I went out there it stayed $10. Currently, the fee, to my understanding now, for everybody is supposed to be $85 a ton.
It was my understanding that there was a $10 minimum.
Okay.
I think so.
That was previous? Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Lynch?
Okay, the last few meetings, we were talking about citywide cleanup, and Mr. Miller asked me to come up with a time. I think early November, before Thanksgiving, before holidays, one week, we start 1 week on one section, and then start another week the other section, and go section by section. Starting in Northport St. Joe.
Okay.
I was thinking somewhere between early November, first or second week in November.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the 2nd or the 9th.
The 12th is the second week, the 10th through the 16th, and then the 17th through the 23rd, and then of course Thanksgiving is the next.
Okay, I just want to start early enough so that we can hit every section.
Right.
Before Thanksgiving.
Right.
If we just come up with a date.
How many sections are you thinking about? We just starting on the north side, 8 or what, or what?
8, we'll go from G to 8.
Okay.
And G to 8, then we'll come across and go from, from Long to Garrison, or Long to Long.
What's the last street of the Garrison? Not. What's the last street in Leadville?
Clifford, yeah.
Clifford.
Go from we'll go from what road your mom stay on? That road. What's that road right there? Robbins to Ballard to Leesville, or Robinson to Leesville?
Could you maybe come up with, we talked about, and then to piggyback what Ms. McElroy was talking about earlier, Marvin and so forth, we basically talked about seeing if we could get BCC and Captain Containers to give us a deal on some containers, construction trailers, placing certain places out there. People can, it's gonna be a short period of time to fill them up, and they're filled up, they're done. We can't keep, it's gonna be expensive because we've got to pay the tipping fees when it's taken to the landfill, just like everybody else. So, that we're gonna try to cut a deal with those guys and then continue on through the whole city of Port St. Joe. Short of, contractors not allowed. This is for residential. So contractors can't come along and throw their, roof materials and all, sheetrock. We're gonna try to limit it to residential. It's gonna be a challenge. We may have to station somebody out there to make sure that folks not putting the wrong things in there. There's some logistics, and I'm not sure, to Mr. Langston, if November's not pretty ambitious to get this thing going on with you, sooner the better, but I'm not sure we can put it together by then.
Let's keep it on, let's put it on the agenda.
In the past, sometime we've had a spring paint up, fix up for spring. We may even, if we get it, if we can get, all the kinks worked out, we may just say we're gonna do it the month of March or something like that. I don't wanna put it off either, because it's needed. I mean, Marvin showed us a prime example, and in my neighborhood, I'm having the same problems. So
let's just continue to discuss it. Let's
do, you and I can't meet on it, but see if you can put something together and get with Jim, get with John, get a city map, and try to lay something out and give us time to talk to these guys with the roll-offs and how many we're gonna need, and if y'all got 6 areas, that's 6 roll-offs, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
The roll-offs are a lot cheaper than the tipping fee.
It's about 400 to dump them.
It's 400 just for one empty one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the size.
Yeah, so anyway.
One more comment to that too, is it may be ideal to do, set it out in one section for 2 days, where you got an individual there, a staff member there, watching it, so contractors aren't dumping the material they should be hauling to the landfill.
Yeah.
Themselves, I don't know. So, just a comment.
No, we're gonna have to do that, but let's start, Eric, if you don't mind, start maybe laying something out, and let's keep working on it, and let people know we're concerned about it. I don't believe we can afford to bring the debris haulers back. That would be more than we can afford, but I think we can make a gesture to help people that don't have trucks, that can get somebody to bring that material and put it in one of those roll-offs.
Mayor, there may be a better deal too if we wait for the transfer station to be open, so they don't have to haul it so far.
That's true, yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Langston, whatever.
We had a brief delay, we got a brief delay on the garden club. We still got to meet with, not the garden club, I'm sorry, the community garden. We still have to meet with St. Joe Company. There's a few words in the contract that we have to, we need to adjust and change. The last thing is the dugouts at Nathan Peters Park. The tops on them, we need to check into getting those fixed. It's been like that ever since the hurricane, so we need to get on top of that and get those fixed up. We have kids going out there want to run around and play, and it's dangerous for that to be like it is. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. I've got a couple of things. First thing, Jim, I would like you to put it on the agenda, and let's keep talking about Robert's Rules of Order. We need to adopt something. I think we're gonna have to have a workshop, and then the Robert's Rules guys come in and give us a few tips on the proper way to run that, because it can get pretty complicated. It's not just easy as saying we're gonna adopt it. We got to know how the thing works, and it can get pretty tough, but it's a good start, so I'd like to put that on the agenda. The other thing is, I talked to Warren Yeager, who's chairman of the BP Oil Spill Consortium. We've got 3 projects, the money's out there, and it was out there for specific things before the hurricane hit us. And after the hurricane hit us, everything's changed, as we all know. And he's agreed to have a meeting with myself and Jim and Clay Smallwood this Thursday to look at reallocating that money for projects inside the city. For example, lift stations, there's just 3 prime, and they qualify already under their rules for that money. So hoping that we can work out something that we can get that money, we can get it spent, help the city come back, and still have some left over for let's say Beacon Hill Sewer. So anyway, that's all I have. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.